Today, eloquence is as important, as essential as analysis, thoughtfulness, and judgment. Therefore, today, eloquence ought to be elevated to the same status as analysis, thoughtfulness, and judgment. Now, how did I, Rashid N. Kapadia, with a background in heavy marine engineering, in project management, and general management, how did I become an evangelist for public speaking, for storytelling, for eloquence? I believe that the seed of public speaking was planted in me when I was a young boy in the early 1970s.
How did I get into the world of public speaking? This is a more unique story. I believe that the seed was planted in me in the early 1970s. My late father was a mesmerizing speaker. He was a leader in Rotary International, and he would travel from club to club to town to town. And sometimes he'd take us along with him, my twin and me. Mesmerizing. 1971. I wish you could have been there. You would have heard him say this to his audience. In New Zealand, there's a tourist attraction. Visitors, they get into a boat and they're rowed into a cave. And it gets darker and darker and darker until they are surrounded by a darkness like no other, the darkness of a cave. And the tour guide calls, silence, silence. And after a while, you see a tiny little flicker. It's a firefly, a sparkle, another one, hundreds, tens of thousands, and the cave comes awash with light. Darkness is dispelled by light. And then my father would remind his audience, and through me he reminds all of you now, that you and I, we are like individual fireflies. With our tiny lights alone in this world, we cannot dispel darkness anywhere. But if we come together, citizenship ventures, charitable projects, together, despite our tiny lights, we can dispel darkness anywhere, everywhere. I'll never forget the way I felt. I felt an intense connection to my father. I felt emotionally empowered. But I remember complete strangers would come to my father and accord him a lot of respect, a lot of affection. And I saw this throughout his life. As a young boy, I got this sense for a first time. Oratory, public speaking was called oratory then. Oratory can be very powerful. And there was no doubt that I felt intensely connected to my father, intensely connected to him. But it was a long time ago, 1971. Time went on and I more or less, it went into the abyss of my memory. Until I was at a PMI meeting and someone came up and announced, we have a Toastmasters club. And I had only one thought in my mind. I want to speak like my father. And I joined immediately. And that, I believe, that seed, were it not for that seed, I wouldn't be standing in front of you today.
About 8 years ago, after I joined Toastmasters, I discovered this awesome power of public speaking, of storytelling to persuade. I came to relish it. I came to champion it. And yes, I aspired to greatness in public speaking. I studied it. What makes this so powerful? I remember speaking to a consultant who asked me, are you sure you're an engineer? I've never spoken to an engineer like you. I wish I could have someone like you when I train engineers. And this sparked something in my mind. It became a research project. It became a labor of love. It became a book. And today it is a manifesto. a manifesto that every profession, every STEM professional, every engineer, indeed every business owner, every leader can be a better STEM professional, a better business owner, a better leader by being a more eloquent, a more persuasive, a more masterful public speaker and storyteller. Indeed, I believe something must come to pass. I hope it comes to pass. I hope that 100,000 engineers someday speak more effectively and as eloquently as at least 100 heads of state, because the world of engineering is a treasure trove of some of the greatest stories of human ingenuity that have never been told.
I have a project man. Here is a man who has in youth relished oratory. So should we encourage young engineers and project managers. Here is a leader who championed oratory. You are the leader of your project. So should we. Here is a man who once and for all showed us every president be a better president by being a better father. You are the president of your project. You are the president of your project. Your project teams need you to inspire. You are an ambassador for project management. You represent me directly, I represent you directly. We need inspiration. Because in order to excel on our project and in our profession, we must all see our own. Every project president can inspire and create public speaking.
Hello, my name is Clayton Simons and I work with the oil trading group at BP. And during my time at BP, I've also had the joy of being a member of our Toastmasters group on campus. This is how I know Rashid Kapadia. I can vividly remember the first meeting that Rashid came to, and he gave a speech and it just blew everyone away. Who is this guy? I remember thinking, turns out Rashid was a veteran Toastmaster, had given many speeches before. But at that point, I was hooked. I wanted to know how he had gotten so good and what made him so good. Rashid is the type of speaker that just emanates energy whenever he's speaking, and it makes you want to just hang on to every single word and idea that is coming across. He is extremely persuasive. He is extremely creative in the way that he delivers his speeches, and truly no speech that he ever gives is quite the same. I think this is part of what makes Rashid such a powerful speaker, in that every time he is leveraging different strengths in every speech, and he's got a lot of them. So with that to say, I can't speak highly enough about the things and all the talent that Rashid brings to the table and the impact that he has about those around him. I can't recommend him enough. He is one of the best speakers I've ever seen.